So the UK and France have called the meeting today. The UK is particularly concerned by the findings of the UN investigation that the hit on the UN compound was caused by an Israeli tank. Given that a British national was injured, we have liaised very closely with the UN over their investigation. It is clear that the UN is confident in their findings and that they have not reached this conclusion lightly. It's also clear that the space for humanitarians in Gaza, for Palestinians, for aid workers, is significantly reduced. And we also hear that the IDF is no longer accepting deconfliction requests, and this is unacceptable. So we call on Israel and Hamas to return to international humanitarian law and to return to a ceasefire as soon as possible.
And what are you hoping specifically to come out of this meeting?
So we want an opportunity to discuss the UN findings and allow Israel to pursue their own investigations, but also to make clear that we have to return to a ceasefire as soon as possible and that we have to operate in a space that is within international humanitarian law.
Can I ask you a question about Lebanon? There were some Israeli strikes on Beirut for the first time since the ceasefire agreement. How concerned are you about that?
We're concerned about every breach of the ceasefire in what has been a very long-running and very fragile conflict. So we're watching the situation in Lebanon, situation in Syria and Golan very closely, but today we're going to focus on the hit on the UN compound.
If I may, just one last question. You said a UK national was injured. The UN press release says that some of these injuries were quite severe, like altering. How badly injured was the UK national? How are they doing?
So the UN humanitarian coordinator and my consular colleagues from Jerusalem have been able to visit the British national who was killed. I understand he's stable and I understand he's making a recovery. But no, lots of other people were injured, and of course a UN worker was killed, and so our thoughts and prayers are with the family of that person, but also bearing in mind that this has been the deadliest conflict for humanitarian workers, and too many have lost their lives. There's too much tragedy for people who are trying only to do good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.